Now, the Nigerian government has announced its stoppage of the issuance of electricity regulatory autonomy to the state government as it commenced a review of the policy. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, while speaking at the 8th edition of the Africa Energy Marketplace Conference in Abuja, said it appeared state governments and other stakeholders had no clear idea yet of what it takes to operate in the electricity market. The federal government had, in compliance with the amended Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electricity Act of 2023, issued an order to transfer regulatory oversight of the electricity market in Ondo, Ekiti, and Enugu states from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to the State Electricity Regulatory Bureau. But Adelabu said there was now a need for a fresh look at the policy to enable states and other regulators understand what is required to operate an electricity market. To discuss this, I'm joined by business and social policy analyst Kenneth Ikenwa. Thank you for your time, Kenneth. Now, let's start by saying what's your assessment of the country's power sector in the last 12 months?
All right, Dapper, thanks for having me on. I'll start first of all by saying Shalom Shabbat. That is peace be unto you. All right, when we come to the power sector in Nigeria, the assessment is not far-fetched. Very obviously, we can see what the different dispensations and different administrations have tried to do with respect to augmenting power distribution, power generation, power transmission in Nigeria. But if I'm supposed to speak for a majority of the Nigerian people, the citizenry and the populace, I would want to rate the power sector performance in this dispensation 1 out of 10. I think, let us be fair to say, they have just performed average. There's a lot of room for improvement. And as the conversation goes on, we can pin down some pivots that will possibly be an advisory, generate some pieces of advice for the government on how we can move the sector and take it to the next level and make it a major catalyst for driving development and economic growth in Nigeria. As it stands, no, it's an average performance. And in fact, I will be able to say it's a below average performance as it stands currently.
Let's talk about what you would say are the reasons behind the government's decision to halt the issuance of electricity regulatory autonomy to state governments.
All right, we have been seeing instances like this in this country, and it just goes to show the buffet of policy somersaults and how these policy somersaults tend to stifle innovation and tend to stifle integration and progress in different sectors of the economy. But now let's come back to power itself. Now, the present withdrawal or the present directive to put a hold on the implementation of this aspect of the Electricity Act 2023, it throws up a lot of dialectics and a lot of polemics. But let me not dwell on the polemics. Let me dwell on the dialectics. Now, is the Minister of Power actually right? What he has present position that he has taken, but we still also have to look at it from the bigger picture. Now, I think one of the reasons that he has given is that the market is not mature. And that brings me back to it means that look at the power sector, the power industry, look at the life cycle. I think it is not a question of the power market or electricity market. The question or the electricity market is actually in a state of decline. And one would have thought the implementation of this policy and the full implementation of the Electricity Act at this stage of decline will have been a good strategy to rejig the sector and to bring it back to a stage of growth. But I think the major thing that they have cited as the government and is that the capabilities are on ground and there is no clear-cut understanding of what the regulation and what autonomy actually implies. In that respect, I would say one, for capacity, yes, that capacity is not fully on ground for the states and for the subnationals. And with respect to autonomy actually indicates that in itself is a problem. So there must be a need for us to clear this ambiguity so that we can reduce the volatility in the sector, reduce the complexity in the sector, and prepare the sector to discharge the growth that is needed and serve as the appropriate catalyst that will be of multiply effect and benefits to the Nigerian people.
How will this review of the policy affect the ongoing efforts to decentralize electricity regulation and even generation in the country as a whole?
All right, I think most appropriate what there will be. The view is aimed at actually deregulating the sector. But as it stands, the sector, this review would definitely put an end to that sectoral deregulation. And what that will mean is that the government and the NEC, the Nigerian National Electricity Regulation Commission, will still continue to play the major pivotal role of regulating electricity in Nigeria. Now, what that means is that we're not going to be able to expand the value chain actors in electricity sector in Nigeria. And that will also mean that for now, we may just have to keep coping with the level of efficiency, inefficiency, and efficiency that is characteristic of that particular sector. But once this the major aspects of Electricity Act are implemented, it means we can expand the various actors in the electricity sector. We can, make the value chain more competitive, and then that will position Nigerians gain more from the sector, and the pricing will be competitive, the service delivery will be competitive, and then we can start thinking of even how to generate more revenue from that sector by exporting energy out of the country.
All right, thank you so much for being with me on the news at this time. Of course, Kenneth Ikenwa.